Hello, guys. It's been a long time. Today we're gonna do an interview with a content creator that has been putting out the word about what's going on this planet. He's doing a great job. A lot of content. He's been around and has been with a lot of great other a lot of great content creator. And welcome to Derek Bartolacelli from Awaken Your Mind. So it's a pleasure to have you. I'm gonna ask you a few questions or do an interview. It'll be interesting.
Fuck
Hey
yeah. Hell yeah.
Derek.
Thanks so much for having me on, man. Pleasure,
Interesting.
honor. Yeah, man.
No problem. I just have would like to ask you a few questions. And the first question I want to ask you: How do you do? How do you? How did you even were able to know all of this? What started your awakening process? How did
Yeah.
you came to come this information?
Yeah. How does one come to these things and everything and like actually go down the rabbit hole finally? And it seems like for a lot of people, I'm speaking for my experiences that there was some kind of burning desire or, there's a fire lit up on your ass or some kind of catalyst that made you realize, or maybe it's some kind of, quarter life, midlife crisis, whatever. I called it a crisis of consciousness actually at the time, and I realized that yeah, I was married and all this stuff. Like in a nutshell, I felt like I wasn't realizing my. I felt like I had so much potential, but I was still operating from like this lower level of consciousness and awareness, and even like energy and just control over my emotions and stuff. And like that was really like pissing me off. And so I was lighting all types of fires underneath there because yeah, I'm a fire sign too, and I wanted to stop burning myself up because temperance is a motherfucker sometimes, and but
Yeah.
I felt like I would be able to control all this much more if I just knew more about myself, but also the world around me because I felt like I wasn't navigating it properly and thinking about like yeah, I listen to some good conscious music and feel like I'm pretty self-aware, yet there's so many more levels to it, and I just had to go in deep as I could. I had like a lot of burning questions as well. So yeah, I just did like a quantum leap of going into all types of subject matter, esoteric and the occult, the hidden behind the scenes type of information that's not really available on public mainstream media and legacy media and all this stuff that they'd be kind of almost force feeding you with plenty of commercials to keep us all distracted and attracted to a lot of toxic shit. And health was a big concern of mine at the time too. So diving into health medicine and realizing all these scandals and following the money, but also maybe not all roads lead to Rome, but there are, a lot of strings being pulled behind the scenes that, correlate to like the Vatican, the city of London and Washington, D.C., and like the military industrial complex and all these things. And they go into like things like ancient aliens and dig way deeper beneath the surface of what you might have seen on TV with that TV show. It sparks some interest, but there's so much more to these things, and they're not gonna really disclose a whole lot. They're theorizing on a lot of stuff, and getting hung up on that was really frustrating. So yeah.
Interesting, interesting. Yeah, I agree. It's a crazy world we live in. Unfortunately, most people have no idea what's coming, what's happening, and what's coming. People think, oh, it's just a conspiracy theory. No, no. All you gotta do is start questioning the system that you live in, where all these things came from. Where you know what I'm saying? Every aspect of your life that you live in, where does it come from? What is it coming from? Why? The why, asking the why. Why do we need? Why we have a government? Why we have three major religions? Why we have to pay to live? Why we gotta work for someone else to get an income and live and pay for anything? Well, why? Why the world? Why the things are the way that they are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and where do we, as
Where
human
do we
species come
come
from
from?
and all this? You know what I mean? Like, how did we
Yeah,
actually truly
ask the
evolve? Like,
question why.
yeah,
Yeah,
asking questions, that's great, and then we got to take it through the trivium as you're kind of going along, the who, what, where, when, why, and how, and all these things, and then we can conclude to something that's more tangible in our minds to kind of realize. And especially if you notice the patterns of throughout history and who's been controlling things, whether in front or behind the scenes, and all this shit, with the world being a stage or a circus, and trying to be a clown up in that shit, right? So
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah, people don't. They just go along with to get along, which is sad. Instead of asking the question, where are we from? Where do we come from? How do we get here? How do we get here? And why? Who actually is controlling this planet? You know, I've said it many times. People want to blame a group of people. Say, "Oh, it's just the Jews who run everything." These people are. It's much more complex and very well organized, the system that we live in. It's not just a group of people. I'm not denying that there are some Jews who run the planet, but it's not just them. They come. Those are Satanists, you know, part of a satanic network that runs every single country of planet Earth. You know, very complexified. These people come from everywhere. They're everywhere: Africa, Asia, Europe, North America, South America, Oceania, you name it. Every single country.
Yeah, and there's other secret
Every
societies that have
single,
chapters in said nations as well, and all this
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. It's not just a monetary system. You hear that in the freedom movement. A lot of ignorance over there. They think it's just a monetary. Yeah, it goes much further and beyond that. The conceptual idea that you actually have a government, a rulership to begin with is their invention. You know what I'm saying? That's how you enslave a species. This system is a system of slavery with the relation of master slave relation. You know,
Yeah, have you seen
this
that
was
new
and
movie?
all the institutional power is going to reflect on that. It's a hierarchical power structure because we're not self-sufficient, you know, because we don't live in an anarchist society
Yeah, and people aren't raised
to think
to
that
be
way.
like self reliant and have a lot of responsibility with a lot of ability to make that happen, and be that kind of master builder for themselves, their community, their family, and all that stuff, right? Yeah, as you mentioned, people are compartmentalizing a little too much, or oversimplifying of like, oh, they're targeting this one portion of the umbrella of in the systems of control, and the hierarchy of that control, as you mentioned, right?
Yeah, yeah. The compartmentalization, which is they don't know how to compartmentalize. Sorry, it's a long word, but yeah, they want to blame a group of, yeah. Nobody's denying that there's some Jews on the power structure. Yeah, but is it all of them? No, there are many of them who are not Jews who are very powerful. But it's about it's about Satanism and a dark occult, like some people will say. Yeah, some of them, like I said, they're everywhere. Anyway, they come from every cultural background and every single country of planet Earth. You know,
Yeah,
and
sadly so it
it's
seems,
very,
right?
it's very difficult for people to see that because they have no knowledge of because these people are occultists, dark occultists. People will say, "Oh, you crazy." Yeah, look at the
Ah,
symbols that they put on logos in corporation everywhere. What do you think? They're just bankers typing shit, typing some numbers on the computer? No,
mm,
they're
right, yeah.
much more than that. They're dark psychologists. They know how to manipulate the human mind. You know.
Yeah, that's a great point, and I feel like if people were supplemented with the education, like learning symbolism 101 type of thing, they could tie these dots more naturally without that resistance or bias of what they've been told through the media and you know public academia, whatever, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm asking a
And
lot there, but yeah. To have books like that, or even the Kabbalion talking about hermetic principles,
the
natural law, right?
American, the seven principle natural law. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
For starting with the principle mentalism and then going on and so on. Yeah, it's
That's
a very sad. What you think of the situation on planet Earth of humanity? What do you think humanity is heading? Um, you think something can be done to what's happening now to the current situation of human slavery? What's
Yeah,
your thoughts
I feel
on
like
that?
there's always this potential in the even like the astrological, even solar processions are favorable. Yet, yeah, the controllers are gonna put out their death throes when they feel like they're losing that control. Of course, we have to expect that. Yet, we have to also recognize and realize the human potential on the individual and collective level. And I'm sure you heard of things like the 100th monkey effect, things where there's like a quantum leap in consciousness of, there's like the 100th monkey effect. Real quick, it was people studied a group of monkeys in like Japan or whatever, and like this one monkey uh, found a more efficient way to like eat food or like crack this nut or something like that. And it became a popular thing. All the monkeys were doing it over there. But then, for whatever reason, without any contact, a bunch of monkeys in another area were just doing it from like, just like the, there was a pendulum swing of mental energy that connected that species to evolve with better ability or something like that. And so if us humans have that neocortex and more brain power, imagine what we can do, even overnight. But that's asking a lot as well. And folks would have to like have like really incredible epiphany, like almost simultaneously, it seems. And that's not the only way. I'm just saying like that would be like a that quantum leap of uh, getting over this threshold of where people actually are activated and more cognizant of the draconian, dismal ways of the world that we've been conditioned to, and that have also helped install. Right? Because it's not just we can't just blame the government and all the bad people,
Yeah,
because mind control has been led us to kind of build the prison for ourselves as well. Right? So
it's our unfortunately it's our compliance acquiescence to the system. It's our fault for allowing them to rule over us. You know, a lot of people don't want to hear that. They think, oh, it's just them. Look, I tell you something, guys. In order for the light to be sold, it must be bought first. Okay, we're buying it. These people are just influencer. Okay, they're nothing. They're bunch of old uh, farts. Okay, that's what these people are. For the most part, they're not all of them are old. So some young people, they are part of the very powerful people on the power structure, but majority of them are old fellas. Okay, they wouldn't dare to control these people. They cannot control people physically. They need their henchmen of the police and the military to do the bidding for them, to act as the law enforcement of man's law. Okay, to enforce the system of slavery. Okay, they brainwash people to think that the police and the military are the good people. They're there to keep enforce law and order in society. When in point of fact, they're helping to build this prison on planet Earth. You know, set up this system of slavery and building a prison on Earth. You know, yeah, this is how they control people. They cannot do it physically. First of all, one of them even dares to control me physically. this old globalist Satanist. First of all, as soon as he sees a real man, I wouldn't even have to touch him. He will explode like a, a bag full of talcum powder. That's how fragile these people are. Okay, if you have you noticed, you know the movie, the End Game, the Avengers, Thanos is snapping his fingers and turning everything to dust. This is how fragile these people are. They're nothing. They're not that powerful, folks. Okay, it's just people are. It's just they know how to manipulate. Like I said, the human mind, and people are dumb people. They buy into the nonsense. They think the system is real. They buy into this um, false way of living. This false way of perceiving reality. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and
That's how humans enslave themselves. They don't want to hear the truth. They're a bunch of moral relativists. They let their selfish and their own selfish preference to dictate to other people's life.
yeah, and like you said earlier, it's like the common man and woman were just going along to get along and complying with law enforcement and all these rules and regulations and whatever. Yet we can deny those and be more non-complicit. Obviously, it's at our own risk, right? But going back to what you
Yeah,
said with the yeah, it sucks that these manipulators are very powerful just with their methods of manipulation and the art of persuasion as well. And
exactly.
for those listening, I'm sure y'all heard Axel talk about how they are trying to duck out of their karmic debts by influence others to do their biddings in a sense and hiding behind the law enforcement and all these things. So they're kind of
Exactly.
untouchable, but yeah, if you would touch them, that they're fragile, right? And
Yeah,
they're
they're
fucking cowardly like that.
very cowardly. I respect. They're very capable. They ward your opponents. I respect them for that. Doesn't mean I like them or I want them to succeed, but they ward your opponents. The intelligent people, they know how to manipulate the mind of human beings. They got all the knowledge about all the how the law of manifestation and the law of the or creation really works, karma and natural law. Okay, we're not saying that because Mark's saying this, because it's true. Okay, there are many books and sources that they explain who these people are. They put it in the movies as well. Okay, and these people are Satanists and dark Luciferians. Okay, they come from every cultural background and every social strata of the human society. Okay, they're everywhere. Bankers, judges, lawyers, school teachers, principals, college students. There's a lot of people, children born in multi generational satanic families. You know, they're everywhere. Satan are everywhere. You may even run into a Satan, but they're not gonna tell you we're Satan. They might act, oh, hey, Derek, how you doing? And be afraid. A friend of yours might be a Satan, but he won't tell you that. You know, they're very hidden and from
Yeah, they're
this
not announcing it
everywhere
like, "Hey," or identify
from
like, "Hey,
the
I'm Derek.
human
I'm a Satanist.
society.
How you doing?" Or whatever, right?
They're very covert and
Yeah, yeah.
hidden.
And then there's the other thing where a lot of people don't even realize it, but they're actually in a cult, but they have no idea of that. And they're just operating with the herd mentality of that sometimes. And you could take it to like stateism or, all these isms as well, where there's like some kind of groupthink or some kind of head, you know, influencer type of leaders. You know what I mean? These
Exactly.
ideology, whatever.
Yeah, and this is what people need to understand. It's a sad state of affair of humanity. It's getting worse and worse. They're talking about World War III. I mean, People think, oh, it's never gonna, it's happening, folks. It's gonna happen. Look at what happens with the drone shit in the US. There were drones in the UK and the US military. It's a hybrid warfare, folks, and it's starting. They know at the end of the day, people won't do nothing to stop them. It's sad. People think the system is real, that we have to comply, that we have to live the way we are living now.
Yeah, and you know,
What you say? I mean,
so when I said the world's a stage, I mean you could take that to like how it's almost placated as some kind of like movie. You know, like does there have to be the trilogy of all right? We did two world wars. The world suffered enough. Are you guys? No one. There's a lot of people still recovering from all those trauma and multi-dimensional or multi-generational trauma, right? They've been talking about this for decades, right? It's like, when's the next world war? It's like almost anticipated or expected as if it's inevitable. And it's fucking horse shit, you know? And those are the seeds that they like to plant into the collective consciousness for things to kind of play out in the future. And that's why we have this predictive or projective programming, as I prefer to,
predictive program, yeah, yeah.
so there's a lot of elements to this, and they're just kind of like the subtle persuasive things are not even, or like even like the law of attraction. Even if you fear something and it focus on it too much, that could be an eventuality. Not always, of course, but it really depends on you know people's levels of consciousness and energy focused on that or whatever, giving attention to it sometimes. And if we have this collective thinking that way, it creates kind of an egregore or a pendulum, if you will, that will might swing that reality in the future to that possibility, right? So people need to find a balance within themselves and look at different sources of information and get a more balanced perspective on things, and the overarching level of awareness of just like, yeah, there's a lot of manipulation going on from north, uh, east, west, and south. News, you
The
know.
news, yeah, yeah.
You break
I
down the
mean, they
acronym.
put in some encoding messages in word. It's called green language, occult language with deep occult meaning, language with deep occult meaning and roots. You know, synchromysticism, and it's crazy. These people are geniuses. They're evil psychologists, but very intelligent people. They're not stupid. Well, intellectual, because they're not actual very intelligent people because they lack care. They're intellectual people, but you know,
Yeah, we I did a show with the Europa Natural Law recently in regards to like that dark care, the inverted care. They care for themselves and their own, right, the satanic mind state of self perseverance amongst above all else, even when it infringes upon the rights of
exactly.
the people, right? So yeah, it goes well beyond just like greed and all this stuff. It's like power thirsty, over obsessive for more control, and like the gold greed as well is part of it. But yeah, it's also the gold consciousness that they like to siphon off and loosh out our energies as well. If you want to take that more to the archonic level of things in regards to like
Yeah,
parasites and energy vampires and whatever the fuck, right?
yeah, that's right. I agree. Yeah, exactly. Um, they're trying to waste people's energy into doing something they don't like, and it creates suffering into society. But like I said, it's the people who creating this suffering. What do you think about um? Why do you think it's important for people who know this information to express themselves and put the word out to the people? Um, what you think about why? Do you think will ever humanity get out of this, or it's gonna be everything's gonna be set in stone? the world is gonna end, you think we can still do something about it? uh
Yeah, yeah, definitely feel like we can still do something. We don't have to keep treading in between like the proper Earth timeline or this transhumanistic bitch shit, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like the technology is awesome and convenient and this and that, but at what price sometimes? And also, like a lot of people didn't even ask for this extra AI assistance in all this fucking tech. All of a sudden, it's just almost force fed through us, and there's money making schemes and all that jazz. All that aside, how much of that technology are you going to use as a tool for empowerment and educating and informing others? And for people looking, your first question of how people can get the message out, make their own content and this and that, it really depends on your current level of awareness on anything, and your skill sets on creating media or even just writing, or if you're a great talker and socializer, yeah, get out there and maybe even do take advantage of websites like meetup.com, where you actually meet up in person like we used to do. We still do, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
It doesn't have to be always in the digital plane, and you can really create proper cool communities, like my good friends out in Redding, California, David Rodriguez, Chris Jansen, and Leslie Powers, who I saw just like a month ago. They got a cool conscious community of folks that are pretty much on the level, and they're looking to network with folks that are into farming and just more uh, self-sustained living, uh, I guess that off-grid type of stuff, as far as just not being reliant on all the corporate oligarchic entities that kind of are making life pretty fucking expensive, and not that fun to be under their contracts and all that shit, right? So yeah, and then uh, coupled by what you know about, and what you're talented in, what is your passion, and how can you wield that magic towards that art of persuasion or influence, or just being a proper, conscious and composed informant, if you will, right? Or a journalist or a writer or a musician, like we can do many things through art, all types of art. Just think about all the methods that they use to brainwash us. Flip the script, because we can put monkey wrenches up in their shit and use those same methods, but not all of them, of course, because they got a lot of fucking low grade, low conscious, on the checkered board, lying down almost half dead, like on the Masonic checkerboard of duality, right? It's just like hella low vibe, low conscious content and all this stuff. And this is what, I mean, Disney Plus and whatever the fuck. I mean, media is so whack these days, and like the
yeah, the
writing
bunch of
is feeling
liars.
good.
I call them the like Jerusalem. They calls them the prostitutes. They lie for a paycheck. More trash they are.
Yeah.
I mean, wow, the disgusting human beings. You're willing to tell lies because of things money. This is the value. It's money. Um, you know, that's what people think. They think money is real. You know what I'm saying? I'm nothing against people who have a lot of money or anything. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the concept of money into the incorporating the human society. You know, a piece of paper that worth nothings. They just put some markings in it, some markings in that note, and it suddenly becomes real. It's valuable because the government prints the money from the central bank and gives you the little piece of paper they themselves print at high interest rate and give it to you, and you think it's real. And you have to buy things. You have to buy things that you actually need, food that's required for you to live. You acquire natural, and how would you say, natural needs. You acquire them with something that does not exist in nature, which is called money. This piece of paper and note. The child molester and pedophile are giving you. They bring you money. Child molester and pedophiles. Okay, that's what these people are. People, bankers and behind. Okay, occultists and Satanists. That's what these people are. Psychopath rulers. Child molester and pedophile bring you money, and people are dying for that. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah, certainly money can help you create ease, in your life. You can do things that you want, but it's not everything, It's much more than that. The society we live in, it's become a very, very hedonistic. It's been always hedonistic, but bunch of barbaric animals. Humans have been always. Now it's still incredibly bad, but during in the past it was a lot worse than this. I mean, you couldn't even say anything to your ruler. You will be run to on a sword by a soldier, like in ancient
Yeah.
Rome or any parts of the world, no matter, very materialistic society would become, because this thing money people would do anything for money and power, very corruptible people. And you
Yeah.
cannot be free with that kind of mindset. You deserve slavery and chains on you and on your children and future generation by that kind of mindset. If you think money is everything for you, okay, piece of paper that is not real, they put markings and child molester and pedophile giving you. And you get paid for that, and you pay taxes. I mean, so what you think about that? Why you think is that for you? Why do you think human are that materialistic? And what do you see in this today's society with this neo-feminism and the materialistic society that we live in? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we could tie a lot to this in regards to money and yeah. Um, penny for your thoughts on the dollar. No, just kidding.
Yeah,
Or the euro. I mean, shit. We're also in that debt-based monetary bullshit system, which sucks because before that, at least countries had their independent print or money printing, whatever the fuck, and there was not interest on that, a la Brussels and whatever the fuck. Anyways, but yeah, like there is a natural law in regards to equal energy exchange, and it sucks how it's been so distorted through this um, the monetary gain of things through money and all this stuff, and how it's become people's gods and people worship it to a degree and they idolize it and think that it's like pretty much it motivates people to do very immoral things and
exactly.
yeah.
This is I fully agree. I'm in fully agreement. I mean, there's not debate. You see it every day, you know.
Yeah. So if we're looking at, you mentioned the neo-feminist side of things and all that stuff, and yeah, props to anyone being successful, even if it's being independent and running your shit and this and that. It still might be in the matrix or whatever, even if it is completely whatever. Like, I mean, is it really that hard just to get a job and be present and do what's asked of you and then move I mean, I'm kind of overgeneralizing, but
Yeah,
so in regards to like money being the motivator and with the traditional dynamic of men being the breadwinner and woman kind of stays home, raises family and all that stuff, right? Where back in the day households would be able to function and flourish off of a single income. Now they're barely getting by on a two incomes, the man and the woman both working full-time jobs, can barely fucking get by. Like, what happened? Yeah, we know. But so when women more in the traditional sense are pursuing men based off of just like valuing them as far as being the provider and like the money behind it, that kind of creates distortions in their decision making and choosing
Exactly, I
a right
fully agree.
partner.
Yeah, yeah. This is why men they easily controlled by women nowadays because of this thing.
Sure.
They have to do what the inauthentic women, because those are not real women, okay? And same thing with men outside. Those are not real men outside. Because in event of tyranny, they're gonna lay down and willing themselves to be enslaved, like cowards that they are, you know, lay down like bitches. And yeah, it's sad. And a species that value money like this deserve to be enslaved. You know, if a piece of paper is um it's your god and you're worshiping it like that, you deserve slavery. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, a lot of people don't like me saying that, but it's true nonetheless. Nonetheless,
Yeah,
and people
so
deep down they know this.
we'd like to think, right? Yeah. Sometimes they don't hear the silent screams of the soul within themselves, right? There's too much noise within the matrix, of course, right? And people are distracted in a gazillion ways, with social media taking center stage these days, it seems, and Netflix on deck and whatever the heck. But so in regards to, and this is a good question because never really thought too hard about this, but maybe you want to comment on it as well, in regards to like money being the motivator for these strong, independent, feminist women.
Yeah,
Nothing wrong with that, but so they feel. So what's the dynamic that it's having with men who they wanted it? They're used to having this figure of them being the provider and the breadwinner. All of a sudden, the roles are reversed. So
yeah. And nowadays women are becoming men and men are becoming women. It's a wow, very sad. I see it all the time everywhere. You know, on social media, it's frustrating. You know how ignorant people are, and people the women who are buying into this ideology, neo feminism, because those are not actually, it's not even feminist, this neo-feminism, which is a different, those are not classical feminism, which is believing the equality, true equality of women under a natural law, you
and
know.
not man slamming folks on the way there.
Yeah, that's true equality of women, that you women have same rights as men, but that doesn't mean that they are men, they actually be like men, they have their natural nurturing role, like men have their and natural role as a protector and, you know,
Yeah,
provider in some cases. That's people don't get.
yeah,
Don't
and a lot of
understand it.
people don't get as well of just equal rights, which both and I, you and I, I'm sure we're both for, just like
Yeah,
equal sovereign rights.
you're
But
not
that
a
just,
slave to anybody, and you have rights.
yeah, but that does not
The
equate
right to be
to.
remain free of harm. That's
Yeah, but the main thing that I wanted to mention, and people seem to get this twisted, is that equal rights does not equate to equal worth. That does not translate well in the reality field, in the workforce, especially in these types of things, right?
exactly. And you tell people this, they get upset. Ah, they're a bunch of morons, a lot of people outside. They're a bunch of know nothings. They don't know that Satanists and pedophiles are giving this ideology of neo feminism to the women out there. And
Right.
they're buying it, they're swallowing like a, you know, a funnel to to the down the throats. A lot of horse shit and be jumped down the throat with the funnel. You know the funnel that you use to put a liquid down a bottle easier
Yeah,
to
even like a beer
facilitate
bong.
the pour down of liquids on the bottle. Yeah, that's what they regurgitate. A lot of women, unfortunately, most of the women out there, they're regurgitating a lot of horse shit that the social engineer that this psychopath are giving them, and they don't question it. They don't think, oh, why do we have to? No, the thing is normal. It's sad, and the men are as well are buying this shit. They're buying the dialectics. They don't know that pedophile and Satanists give you that. They react to the symptoms. Oh, women are like this. It's the nature of women. No, they be brainwashed by thinking like that. That everything it's about them. They don't get it. It's about me, me, me. The selfish, one of the tenets of Satanism, which is about egotism and pure selfishness. There's a lot of people. Because you live in a society is based on pure materialism, and moving to become an atheistic society. And all this is because we live in a system of slavery where there's artificial lack. But because of that, the relationship between men and women is not gonna be genuine, unfortunately. You know what I say?
Yeah,
In the contrary, that if we lived in an anarchical society, an actual society based on true freedom, the relationship between men and women and other people around you will be more voluntary. There won't be no coercion. You know, we'll be more honest between each other. More The interaction will be voluntary, no violence and coercion done upon you. It's a very complex dynamic. That too few people understand.
yeah. All right, so that's a great segue of going back to what I wanted to mention because
Yeah, yeah. Go,
that
go ahead. What's your
proper
take on that?
the divine feminine essence is that non-aggression, non-violent principle. And so like having that compassion for people, even if you don't agree with every fucking opinion they have or blah blah blah. Um, if women would truly embody that and exemplify that and be that uh, leader of example of that proper divine feminine, I think what you're talking about would flow more smoothly towards that direction for sure. But going back to Satanism, Satan, the adversary,
Yeah,
it's just these inversions. And so with that divine feminine principles of care and non-aggression, what do we see on the neo-feminist side? A lot of aggressive, incompassionate women, right? So they've been conditioned on the inverse of that sacred feminine in some ways, some of these archetypes of consciousness and energy, right?
yeah, exactly. And people don't want to hear this shit. It's sad. They think, it's they wanna. You need to go to the root causal factor. Why is this? Why is why it's the things are the way that they are? Like I said, you know what I'm saying. And
Yeah, and why are we the way we are? What makes us tick, and why are we thinking the way we think, and why are we getting triggered over things that we necessarily shouldn't, or whatever, right? So yeah, questions.
yeah,
Yeah, root cause. Like we have to ask these questions to get to these causal factors and stuff, and also being open to our own participation of or these causal factors, so we can get ourselves out of there and be on that positive side of things and be part of the solution.
exactly. And like you said, it's a very state of affairs of this species that's moving deeper and deeper in overt hardcore slavery. And it's gonna be, and it says in the Bible, there's gonna be time that people will wish to die, but they won't be able to. And I think that's where we're headed, folks. You know, they're gonna make it impossible for people to escape slavery. They even if I think even we're even late on the game for the physical rebellion because people still don't get it. You know, I think a physical revolution or a war or something has to happen for a cleansing of this society, and maybe this time to get it all the way. You know, to go all the way.
Yeah, I think. I mean, with the system so cancerous, you have to take it to that alchemical phase of calcination, or like the burning of that, and then wash away all that's impure. Because, yeah, I guess some of man's law is kind of based off of natural law, universal law, right? Yet,
Yeah,
of course, it's been paltered and distorted and all these things. So if we can get back to those golden rules and stuff, and yeah, pick up the pieces that's been left out, this fucking cosmic jigsaw puzzle, if you will, you know, because yeah,
yeah,
that's you've
I
heard
agree.
the concept. Sorry, go.
I agree. I agree with what you say. Yeah,
Thanks, man. Because yeah, like there's a lot of entanglements of so many layers of programming and conditioning. Sorry, there's neighbor's cat likes to come by and say hello. Uh, have you heard of the Gordian Knot?
the Gordian. No, never. I
It's kind of
meant
like
I heard of it, but I don't know exactly what it is.
okay, just think of just how all these people within society are entangled by all these different aspects of it. All the different programmings and layers of control, what we can or cannot do, what rights do we still have or not have anymore, and all these things, and what people are defending and or not, or fighting for or not, and all these things. And it's like this clusterfuck of consciousness, and it's really hard to untangle oneself from it, and get those threads of distortion out of there, and the good stuff kind of straightened out so people can see more clearly, and all this stuff. And yeah, the Gordian Knot, you take it to, I think it was Alexander the Great, of just like it's this almost it was impossible for them to untangle this ball of yarn that was tied up in a knot so well. And this is like mind control has worked so well, so it's kind of hard to do that. And the end of the story, I guess Alexander the Great just took out the Excalibur and just cut it in half. It's like, like, it's too entangled. Forget about it. Just fucking,
Yeah.
like make a new one now or whatever. Like, no,
So I
no.
ask you another question. Why do you think people want to be slaves? Why? Why do you think they're so entangled and entrenched in this religion called statism and government? And why? Why humanity has been always like this? Why? And what do you think are the causal factor for that?
Yeah. I
Why
think
do
it
you
just goes
think?
back to like centuries of our human condition, and how it's evolved or devolved, and the multi-generational trauma and conditioning and all that stuff that's kind of led up to the current reincarnates here living in this current space and time. And yeah, obviously, we've been hammered since birth of all these newer levels of propaganda, mind control, and just like advertising. And how many, there's a statistic of like like children can identify over 100 different logos, corporate logos, but can't even identify 10 different types of trees. That's how sad people have been conditioned or whatever. And now with the social media uptick and all that, like forget about it. Smartphones, tablets, and all this stuff. And unconscious parents not really having a filter on those, or being proper responsible adults with their children that are so young and easily subjected to all the flickering lights and anything flashing to their conscious and especially their subconscious, you know. So your question was again,
Yeah, why people
oh yeah, yeah,
like to be enslaved? Why do they worship government so much?
yeah, and I don't think
What you think about it? What's your thoughts on that? Why is that people still don't question the illegitimacy of government, not understanding that they're enslaved. The government does not give a shit about you. It's there to enslave you. The very conceptual idea of external government, external
right.
rulership of the self.
Yeah, that question put that way reminds me of a meme that I'm sure you've seen floating out there of like govern me harder, daddy, or some shit like that. And
Oh yeah, yeah.
uh,
Because the bunch of morons, they don't get the.
well, here's the thing: a lot of people they're just ignorant to the fact that they're enslaved. Kind of like what I mentioned before, of like people don't realize that they're in a cult, and no one's really identifying, "Hey, I'm a cult member of this side," or whatever the fuck. They probably truly believe in some of these uh, politricians and whatever side or flavor to whatever degree, and I feel like it they have a lack of belief in themselves, I guess, and or just it's so hard to like generalize these things because there's a lot of things out there that motivate people to still remain a statist, as you put it, or just still believe in government, aka mind control, gubernare ment, right? Or fuck it.
Exactly, because it's sad.
That's
It's
it. But fuck,
actually
I don't feel like people understand the true nature or state of what government actually is, right? And they don't have the proper mind state to, have the proper mentalism and understand how much this word is used and misunderstood. But yeah, gubernare meant to control the mind and all these things, right?
exactly.
And
Most you ask them. Sorry to interrupt.
no, yeah,
They ask you ask them to most status worshiper of government, the etymology of government, the world or the word government. They can't even answer that. They say, "Oh, the bank." They say the most. They say that word every time. Government, government. I don't know even know what it means.
yeah, like a lot of things that I mean, even myself, I'm still trying to like get more into etymology and yeah, like if we understand the root definition and meaning of words, it can help us articulate and understand the root cause and problems of things as well, right? So there's a lot of things that we need to supplement within our education and awareness field, I guess. But in this goes 20-fold for a lot of people that still believe in these false figures of authority, aka government, aka royalty, or all these things. And I think there's just a lot of subconscious programming in just we're used to this. Our ancestors had rulership and all these things, and yet we see these movies and we identify more with like the rebel alliance and all these things, yet we don't translate that in real life. And it's sad because I guess it made me think of Mark Passio's recent like two faces one mask, that yeah, there's a masquerade of politics going on where they're uh you know claiming to be the saviors and gonna fix people's problems for them and all this stuff and lead the nation to the greatness or whatever, right? Like yet it's savior programming. We see time and time again. It sucks that yeah, the media is doing a great job on controlling people's perception and giving the government still a a good light to be seen in, I guess. Even though you see them going back and forth, they talk so much shit about each other, yet people are still doubling down on their own side sometimes. After every fucking like presidential debates, whatever. You see how whack some of these people are, and they keep talking shit like, oh, well, the Republicans this, or oh, the Democrats that. Yeah, even if some of those things are true or false, what does that say about the people still supporting shitty acts of government that our fucking tax money is fucking paying for eventually? And when we're taxed upon tax upon tax upon tax, all this shit. Like, there's so many like, hello guys type of thing. Like, what you're doing is not in supporting all this stuff and voting for it. It's pretty insane because you're expecting different results, but it's the same shit, different smell in a sense. So yeah, I don't see people actively, consciously realizing that they're supporting slavery. I guess it just seems more complex than that. Although I'm sure there are people that they can't wait to see the world burn, and they're totally down with siding with the evil aspects that are perpetuating it. Right? How fucked
Exactly.
up people can be, but yeah, like
Uh, the bunch of clowns. That's what people believe. They believe in slavery. That's what people think the government is necessary.
yeah, and I'm just trying to find reasons. I'm not like defending these people or whatever, right? But yeah, I've been able to crack some of the shells of resistance from people, even close friends and family and stuff. And I don't even have to say much. I kind of let them bring things up to me and like, oh, like you didn't vote, this and that. And I was like, no. I'm like, why? It's like, oh, I'm glad you asked. So yeah, blah blah blah. Yeah. It's like, oh, okay. That does make some sense and stuff, and it just gets them thinking and stuff. And yeah, it sucks that these things take more time than we'd like, especially when the clock is ticking, right? It seems like it's the 13th hour or whatever, right? 11th, whatever people want to consider it. But yeah, I try to have some heart-based compassionate approach to people. I can easily, and I have, just like call people out and call a spade and be like, you're supporting slavery, what the fuck is wrong with you, type of stuff. Like, if you're voting for this, that means you're condoning violence upon myself and other people. But you have people act, shaving their heads, going crazy, these democratic feminists claiming that all their rights are going to be gone because this clown won the election and not their own fucking clown, and all this stuff. And so
Exactly. They buy into the polarization dialectics.
yeah, there you go.
The bunch of these pieces. I myself, I think, I don't know what to even say. It's gonna get bloody. It's gonna get bloody very soon. Now people they're living their selfish, comfortable lives, and they'll see. A lot of people are not gonna be ready. I'm preparing myself. I'm buying a lot of prepping items, extra food, and everything. I'm planning to do some more shopping for prepping because I know what's coming and it's not gonna be nice. It's not gonna. Most people when the shit hits the fan, they're gonna crap their pants off. I'm not gonna be ready. They're gonna cut your lights off. What are you gonna do?
Yeah,
An EMP attack on a grid or a Carrington event like a solar flare. What are you gonna do? You're gonna be dead on day one. That's what's
yeah.
gonna happen. Most people.
You
It's
need
not
to.
gonna be anything like we see on movies. It's nothing. Real warfare. Sorry.
Good, man.
Real warfare is gonna be so bad, especially with the technology that we have. Especially people don't know how to do anything nowadays. They don't have any survival skills. It's gonna be a lot worse. People that truck it there and they all live in the cities. They all depend on the system. That's why they don't want people living in the rural area, and they try to do some type of agenda or moving people into the main into the city, so people become more dependent on the system. And when the shit hits the fan, people are not gonna be ready for that. They don't think clearly and logically. They're a bunch of clowns. They like NPC bots. It's gonna be sad.
Yeah, and there's a good amount of people you're talking about who are, yeah, they're talking a lot of shit on TikTok or whatever, and like, ah, I'm never gonna talk to my family again, and all these things because they've voted for the the person that I wasn't, and this and that, and
The slave master. They that's what this politician are. The slave master who have owners as well. You know what?
oh yeah, exactly right. They're voting for puppets on strings, and who's pulling what from where. Sometimes, yeah, it's sad that people are still way ensconced and asleep within the first veil of this geopolitical level of consciousness, and it sucks because there's so much more to life out there. And yeah, yeah, what you talked about, we covered in with the One Great Work Warriors in regards to like convenience. Yeah, like living in a city, a lot of things are convenient for us, and like the technology, a lot of things are made for us. So it's convenient for us to use those things, but at the same time, we're sacrificing life skills, right? We're not cultivating that and like making things for our own and relying more on ourselves and these hands to make that magic, if you will, and all these things. And so yeah, when shit hits the fan, people are going to be struggling pretty bad. And for those that think like, oh, the Civil War type of shit going on, there it seems to be like Democrats are provoking things of that nature, but nowhere near to where the other side is taking them serious, which is cool. And at the same time, I see a lot more bark than bite from these people. First of all, a lot of them are like anti-gun, and the conservatives aren't. They're outnumbered and outgunned hardcore. I don't even if they're not out. Sorry, I don't know if they're outnumbered, but even if they weren't, they're outgunned by like tenfold, probably.
Yeah,
Like,
the
no
I
one
think
wants
in
to
the
hear that, right? Like, what the fuck? Slaves fighting slaves. This is what we're gonna bear witness to and maybe partake in. Whatever the fuck. Y'all actually want to go there? I fucking doubt it. It's just a lot of social media posturing I see, because a lot of people. It's so easy. Everyone has a phone now with a microphone and a camera, and I could just go like this and say whatever the fuck I want and post it on whatever social media, and not be accountable for fucking jack shit. But in real life, people wouldn't be saying a goddamn thing close to that because they're fucking, posturizing, and it's kind of cowardly to do it, through a proxy like that, and not, you know what I mean? Like, can people just compose themselves and interact with people on the internet as they would in real life? I think that would, clear up a lot of fucking bullshit coming out of people's mouths as well. Yeah,
yeah,
there's a lot of fake ass shit out in
yeah,
internet.
people in the past they used to be men, used to be approached, do everything face to face. Now the bunch of they all do everything on the phone. A bunch of people don't even take a walk anymore and be in nature, do anything. I remember I still do rarely but I still go out anywhere on a daily basis. Remember, I used to go to the park, you know, um, I still do sometimes. But around when this pandemic, I used to go out in the park, nice and beautiful outside, see nature. People don't, and we live in a digital era. Most people don't even do that. They just everything on social media. TikTok, 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 Instagram, Instagram. Oh my god, I gotta do this, like a fucking NPC uh, program. And they don't even Sure, you can use social media, do at least do something valuable with that. Put good content for the people to see. Educate people about the world they live in. Don't put a lot of nonsense for everybody. You see, what we're using. It's a form of technology. We use technology, but we're putting video for people, content out there for people to educate people, to explain people what's happening outside, uh, in the world, explaining why the world is so fucked up, and we're trying to do something about it. To explain why is things are the way that they are. Try to do something about it.
Yeah, brother. And
Yeah.
yeah, we got to wield these tools for the better of ourselves and others, right? I always think, like service to others, but we always have to, make sure we're good to go as well, because you can't, start filling other people's cups when your shit's empty, type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Same sentiments, like that good old love evolution. If you don't have love for yourself, you don't have that to give to others, right? And it doesn't have to be like romantic love. We could be talking about agape, right? That universal love, or that brotherly love, philos, right?
Feelers, yeah,
Some
feelers.
proper fraternity, like, brotherhood, sisterhood, all that shit. But it's got to be cultivated within. You can see a lot of people throwing that out, virtue signaling to it, using it as a simple buzzword. It's so convenient to do that instead of, actually doing the work within the heart, I guess, and also coupled by the shadow work and stuff, and getting light as a feather within yourself in regards to mayats and that kind of shit. Keep it balanced.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad. It's sad. It's frustrating. Yeah. I mean, people. It's a. I think it's gonna take humanity. It's gonna come to a bloodshed. I don't know. Maybe we're gonna. And I maybe I think here's what's gonna happen. Either we're gonna go to the path of nuclear annihilation, World War III, which is very likely. I think we're months away, because I don't even think go. Oh, we're gonna even go through the year 2025. I think it's gonna get a lot worse than that. This is when people. Oh, it's gonna be a very slow path to incremental totalitarianism, overt slavery,
Mm.
and I think it's gonna be a mix of both. So it's gonna be bad out there.
Yeah, and,
Gear up, folks. Gear up, folks.
yeah, because shit might hit the fan, not in the ways that people might have in their minds. And like you said, there's like these incremental changes that are happening, and like what is it? I forget the acronym, but like the digital ID, and having your money possibly limited to your social media activity, and all these things that you hear in dystopia land. That seem Once upon a time we thought they were just fairy tales, and look what the fuck's going on. Like, what's the trajectory on that shit, right? And that sucks. And so, yeah, being able to grow your own food. Yeah, because one day you might be at Mark and Spencer's, or other places where you're at, or Aldi, or supermarkets that you can't access because the door's locked, and you swipe your ID card. Oh, you don't have social credit to do what that kind of shit. So, things to consider, and support your local farmers. Hit up
Exactly.
those farmers markets as much as you can. Pay with cash. Uh, Bust out that
Exactly.
dinero. You got to keep the physical currency flowing, even if it's not even worth the paper it's printed on and all that shit you mentioned, right? But
Yeah, but it
it's
is
what we got
better
to work with, right? So
because
yeah,
digital money is gonna be. I think the end goal it's overt slavery. They're planning to put RDF microchip in the wrist. People call it the mark of the beast.
sure,
And
yeah.
they
The
want to
Neuralink. Yeah.
control the farmer. They want to make the farmer more controllable and run easier than it is now.
Yeah, you're in the UK. What did you hear about recently? What was
Yeah, with the inheritance tax and the
ah,
farmer are protesting in London. Yeah, so
yeah,
that's crazy.
couple hundred tractors rolling through.
Tractors and wrong.
Did they bring the manure like French did like last
I
year?
think what the tractor, what they should do, they should look. I'm not advocating for violence, but
Right, yeah.
you know what I mean. What they should do with the tractor, a lot worse than that.
Yeah, little bulldoze in action. Yeah,
You know,
make their presence felt, I guess.
I would have look. I would have just, yeah, I would have just smashed into the Parliament building. That's what I would do.
Good old Big Ben, eh?
Yeah,
Or
uh,
Westminster.
yeah. The
What about
I've
Eastminster?
been in London a few years ago, more than 3 years ago. I've been in
Yeah, I know
London.
you're in London, and those places are. I'm sorry, you're in Liverpool, and those places are in London. But yeah,
Yeah, I've been in London 3 years ago.
okay,
It's a beautiful city to
yeah,
visit, but it's not ideal to live. It's a lot of crime and violence there.
and the price of living is kind of high or steep, right?
Very high in a major city. It's crazy, but it's everywhere. Everywhere it's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, man. So, what
But
else is on your mind, or you got any other questions for me?
maybe
Ah,
one more question, and we'll wrap it up.
yeah,
Because
sure.
I think I know you got things to do, so do I. Try to keep it
Yeah, no
short.
worries, brother. Yeah. After, yeah, every Sunday, we got that Europa Natural Law chat, which you got to come through sometime. We got some
Okay.
UK
On
folks.
Telegram, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No problem.
And then we come back on here to do a little live stream. So yeah,
Of course, yeah. But I was wanting to ask you,
yeah, yeah.
look, if ever it come down, because I know the road to humanity, for humanity, the future for humanity is not looking good at all. Okay. Do you think how seeing how bad things are looking for now, for us now, do you think humanity can reverse the course, or it's too late for you? And I know I kind of asked a little bit the same question before, but it's a more bit specific this way, because things are getting so out of control. The society it's so degenerate and bad. It's
Yeah, yeah, and
can humanity break the generational course of slavery and create a system based on true freedom and prosperity? I know
yeah,
it's difficult, but
yeah. It's definitely difficult, and it sucks that the state of the world is the way it is, and I gotta agree with a lot of what you said in regards to that. Although I try to remain optimistic, even though I don't want to be just like deluding myself or whatever. But there's a there's things on a multidimensional level that we got to keep in mind, and yeah, like I mentioned, kind of like the procession of the universe is favorable. Like the energies are welcoming, change and stuff, and aiding change. Yet, yeah, at the same time, there is the the transhumanist bullshit, and I feel like if people cannot be so attached to all this tech and all these things, and just basically stay human. There's a lot of nanotech out there, and genetically modified food and needlecraft and all this stuff. And yeah, it's not like we're gonna be cyborgs in the next decade per se, but humans could be, you know, widely genetically modified. So yeah, the main thing is just to stay human, eat organic, and don't don't listen to social media,
I
mainstream
know, I know,
media,
I know.
and a lot of social media, because a lot of that's a bunch of fucking distractive, low IQ and conscious minutia. And of course, yeah, like, so to be specific, can we turn things around? Yes, but uh, there's got to be way more action and proper
Yeah.
knowledge behind for that to really actualize, because even in like the truth seeking and speaking realms.
the the freedom movement, it's a clown show. It's a joke. The
In a
bunch
good
of
way.
clowns. You know, you gotta. I know. Obviously, I know. You know.
Ha!
You know, people like somebody said. I think it was Mark or someone else. People want 1 million things, but they don't want to end slavery. This is what most people in the freedom movement, human beings in general, they want a million. They're very selfish. They're very they think about only their own selfish goal. They don't want to think about for the common and greater good for everybody, which is truth, freedom, and prosperity for all being on planet Earth. Most people don't want that. They want their own selfish little goals, and that's what we are enslaved species. Most people want a million things, but they don't want to end human slavery, which is frustrating. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be a bloodbath, I think.
Yeah. But trying to imagine if people would really, get their heads out of their asses a little bit more, get their shit straightened out, and really understand and act towards, and wield the law of attraction towards the priorities, and we're more on that page collectively, things can, scripts can be flipped, if you will. And yeah, so like you said, the priorities is fucking actual freedom, even though you hear politicians and anyone who's a statist talk about freedom as well. So we really got to read,
They're lying to
get
the
the proper
people to
bold
make
definition of
you
what that is, like sovereignty, if you will. Let's just use that.
freedom through slavery. Well,
Yeah,
that's
right.
what oh, I'm a politician. I'm a statist. Oh, you guys gonna vote for us, and we're gonna give you, we're gonna protect your rights and sovereignty, and we're gonna give you your freedom back. We're gonna protect your freedom that your forefather fought. Yeah, 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 sure, buddy. Through government. You gotta be fucking joking me. That's what people and dumb bags of shit call status, and people are buying this shit. Imagine that.
Yeah,
Oh,
propagandism.
you gotta vote through a political party or a type of slavery, and we're gonna. I don't know if I can bring a special guest and speaking to this. So the dumb fucking retards, man. You're gonna vote out of slavery. You're gonna vote yourself out of slavery. You need a bloody revolution, and um, to even end, to even do some, to even make them afraid of you, and try to reverse the course of where humanity is heading to, and hand this shit, you know. And people don't want to do it. Don't want to hear that. The fucking the batch of clowns. That's what they are. The bunch of clowns thinking that
Yeah.
you're gonna hand slavery. You wanna have freedom through government. I mean,
Ah,
it's an oxymoron. It's a
exactly. Yeah.
antithesis.
Mm,
You know, government and freedom are the complete opposite of each other. It's complete antithesis of each other.
yeah.
You ain't protecting. You ain't getting no sovereignty or freedom with government. You getting chain and serfdom. That's what you getting. Okay,
Right. And
your state is out there. Yes,
yeah.
ramping up the rants out there. You know.
Imagine if they really tapped into that ancient ancestral memory, and realizing and coming to brutal terms that their ancestors died for a lot less, probably, as far as like tolerating levels of slavery and stuff.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm sure some ancestors went along with it. Some had to keep shit going. I mean, It's not like this one person, this one
Very
figure
cowards.
king
Yeah.
is all powerful, whatever the fuck. He can get taken out just like anyone else. We're all fucking human, or so it seems. And then you can get into the ancient, bloodlines, whatever the fuck, which is why they're so draconian with their obsessiveness on maintaining power in that structure, right? So, but yeah, man, it's a clusterfuck of consciousness, as I like to call it,
Yeah, exactly.
aka the Gordian Knot. But yeah,
No
that,
problem.
that Excalibur, guys, like,
Exactly.
uh,
To wrap up, if you can tell people where they can find you, your social media platforms, and everything.
yeah, definitely. I'm pretty active. I'll do live streams occasionally on ScrewTube, YouTube. Although, yeah, like AwakenYaMind, that's the channel, and it started for like the first decade of like just strictly like music mixes and that kind of stuff, conscious, truth infused. I'll add, but I'll share my tap link. Derek Bartolacelli. I'm on all types of platforms. Rumble is kind of limited because I have to go through a internet proxy or VPN because it's completely censored in France. Believe it or not.
Wow,
Yeah,
really?
yeah,
This is
yeah.
how bad. Blood. What the
I still
fuck?
got my BitChute and Odyssey though, so yay.
Rumble is, folks. This is what we're getting ourselves into.
Hey,
Like,
Germany
I
and
mean,
other European countries that got it worse though. So yeah.
blood. I think the UK it's getting worse as well because people are getting jailed for saying things as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, seen that.
We're heading for war, folks. So sad. Wow, I
We're
didn't know
already
it
in
was
the midst of
censored.
spiritual warfare, and people kind of understood like the World War III is more of like a war on the mind and the our biology as well in regards to the since the dawning of the Rona, the needlecraft, coupled with the transhumanistic Decepticon bullshit going on. So yeah, we gotta remain strong. Put on that spiritual armor and really try to be good with your neighbor, so we have more immediate allies and people on our fucking team. Let's fucking do this. Let's stop the infighting on a lot of levels and come together for fucking reals and get the priorities straight.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
yeah, Axel, I really appreciate you reaching out and
Absolutely. Anytime. We'll definitely link up.
yeah, yeah.
It was very good and nice and interesting to talk to you. Wanted to do an interview with you for a long time because I know we kind of follow each other on social media, and I
Word.
saw you doing interview with Brandon and a lot of great content creators. So I wanted to obviously to link up with you and do some. Obviously, we definitely gonna do all the some other interview
Yeah,
and
and yeah, I
talk
got
to
to
you.
plug in that dissolving the divide because you're gonna have Leslie Powers on. She's my co-host. That we have our show. Yeah, tackling all the polarized, diabolical dialectics of division, right? So yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's all a dialectic, everything, everywhere. So,
c'est dommage, mon ami.
ah oui, c'est ça. Oui.
Ouais, il faut qu'on fasse un truc en français aussi, one day. Yeah,
Ah, si tu veux, on
yeah.
fait un interview en français si tu veux. Ça
Because then
dépend
my
de toi.
girlfriend can actually listen to something and understand it. So yeah, that'd be
Does
cool.
she know any of this? What we talking about? Is she aware of?
Her and I speak about these things all the time. She's on the level and she's awesome, but she doesn't speak English. So yeah,
Ah, oh wow.
c'est la
Dang.
vie, mon ami. But yeah,
Yeah, I see. I see. It's yeah, teach her English.
yeah, why
Bring
not?
her to America, to United States. You know.
Yeah, maybe one day we'll see about that.
Okay. No problem. All right, take care. Okay. Well, I think we're gonna finish the interview.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, Axel. And yeah, thanks again for having me. Had a great time. And yeah,
No
take care.
problem. No problem. No problem. Um.
Peace.
Well,